Some people tap their feet, some people snap their fingers, and some people just sway back and forth. I just sort of do them all together, I guess.
And now here is Elvis Presley.
I got news for you, baby.
So excited, I can't wait.
I think Presley was a star.
Well, heard the news.
Oh, he's such a sexy person. He will always be the king no matter what.
Breaking news. Warner Brothers has postponed the release date of Baz Luhrmann's Elvis biopic from November 5, 2021 to June 3, 2022. The movie was pushed back because it is still in production in Australia. Sources say the film has another 5 weeks of material to shoot, so it wouldn't have been completed in time for its original release date. Unreleased film of Elvis was uploaded onto YouTube last month. These images were made by Frank Koza when Elvis entered the army on March 24, 1958. The next day he filmed again on Elvis's first day at camp on March 25th. There exists only very little film of Gladys Presley, but Frank Koza shot some film of her. His images show that Gladys is not happy at all with her son being drafted into the army.
New this morning, Peloton subscribers can now work out to the king of rock and roll. The fitness company is adding 3 Elvis hits to its music library. The songs are Catchin' On Fast, Do the Vega, and Clean Up Your Own Backyard. The tunes will be remixed by current artists. This is the second music partnership Peloton has announced.
Show me all you got to give. Let's go, give. Let's go, give me all you got to. Let go, love. Let go, love every moment you live. Yeah, I'm catching fast. I'm catching fast. I'm catching fast.
Peloton will be the only place anyone can hear these 3 remixes that are made by DJ Dylan Francis, Big Boy and Chromeo. Sony Records are the owners of the songs and can release all 3 remixes commercially after the initial month-long launch window by Peloton. Although I personally applaud the idea of using relatively unknown songs, I find it odd that Catchin' On Fast was selected, as it is a relatively weak song that was pulled off the Kissin' Cousins soundtrack. I can see the potential in Do the Vega and Clean Up Your Own Backyard, but couldn't they select a stronger song instead of Catchin' On Fast? In short, in the Elvis Presley News Report of December 2020, I announced the sale of the first TCB ring and Elvis's 1975 FLH 1200 Harley Davidson. The ring was sold for $352,500, but the Harley Davidson motorcycle did not sell. The highest paid Elvis item at the Rockhurst auction of January 16 was this 4-carat gold nugget ring with 12 diamonds embedded randomly on its face, which Elvis gifted to J.D. Sumner. Sumner sold the ring to Mike Moon in 1980. Chris Davidson purchased the majority of Mike Moon's collection in 2018, $40,250. Calvin Harrison Jr. will bring to life none other than the legendary figure of B.B. King in the upcoming Elvis biopic. And more names are added to the list of actors that will appear in the movie. Geddy Clark Jr. is set to play blues singer Arthur Big Boy Crudup. Shonka Dukore plays the role of Big Mama Thornton, and Alton Mason will portray none other than Little Richard. Also involved in the music of the film are Shannon Sanders and his gospel team of Lanisha Randolph and Jordan Holland. Knowing that Yola plays the role of Sister Rosetta Tharpe, it has become clear that Baz Luhrmann is putting the spotlight on the roots of rock and roll music, the well that influenced Elvis greatly in his formative years. Graceland is offering a 2-hour live online tour by archivist Angie Marchese of Elvis's home, airplanes and entertainment complex for $100. The From Elvis in Nashville box set may not have been a big seller in terms of a high position in the charts. The album's main achievement was its number 2 in the British Country Compilations Top 20 chart. On January 8, it was the 86th birthday of Elvis Presley. Physically, he has been long gone, but his legacy will never be forgotten. Arguably undervalued at number 53 on the playlist's recent list of the 100 most anticipated films of 2021 is Baz Luhrmann's Elvis biopic. The assessment of playlists is, whatever Baz Luhrmann decides to make, you can be assured that the results will contain many layers of pomp, glitz and visual extravagance. In other words, he is an ideal fit for the larger-than-life biography of rock and roll trailblazer Elvis Presley. In the Elvis Presley News Report of November 2020, I announced the 500 pages book From Memphis to Taipei, a reference guide to the colorful magic of Elvis's Asian vinyl. A book written by the Dutch writers Ferry van der Werf and Dick Dekker. The book is a limited edition of 500 copies and weighs more than 3 kilos. Inside the book you will find over 500 different records with over 2,500 images. The book is now in print and will have a release date around January or February 2021. The writers announced that a follow-up soon will be released. Volume 2 will mainly handle the 7-inch records from Asia, plus adding more 10 and 12-inch records that did not make it into this Volume 1. Hi everybody, this is Emiel Maier. Normally I receive a certain amount of reactions to the trivia question. However, the trivia question of December was perhaps a bit too easy, as I received an enormous amount of correct answers. Yes, Charo was the only movie where Elvis did not sing on screen. I am running out of good trivia questions and maybe you can help me. But always remember that a good trivia question must not be too difficult and not too easy. The answer has to be part of your common Elvis knowledge. So before you send in your trivia, first try them out on your group of Elvis friends to see whether they know the answer. The trivia question for this month is, and try to give an answer from the top of your head and do not Google it, but can you tell me on which date did Gladys Presley die? Place your answer in the comments. Goodbye.
Barb will never forget the day she was visiting family friends and heard the most wonderful sound she'd ever heard coming from the other room.
I ran in and said, "Who's that singing?" And he said, "That's Elvis Presley." And I said, "That's a funny name," but I liked it.
Well, hearing him sing was one thing, but when young Barb realized that she could see this Elvis fellow do it in a movie at the old Capitol Theater in downtown Victoria, she bought a ticket to Love Me Tender's first matinee.
The girls were actually in the aisles on their knees screaming their heads off, and I'd never seen anything like it.
It was such a spectacle, and he was so captivating, Barb stayed for 3 screenings in a row.
And my mom and dad were going, "Where were you?" And I says, "Well, I saw Elvis, and I like him."
Barb's fandom only increased as a teenager. At 16, she drove with a picture of Elvis in her car, and at 19, visited the star's house in L.A.
We went under the fence, down a ravine, and then up the ravine. We could see him singing, and then the bodyguards, they came out with shotguns, and then it's only the fans. And then Elvis waved at us, "Good night, girls."
It's Elvis.
Elvis was filming Clambake then, and Barb ended up meeting him a few times. Although she's grateful he posed for so many pictures, she says they can't capture how warm and charming he was in person, how charismatic and dynamic he was on stage.
Magical. Splendid. Fabulous.
Barb saw Elvis perform 30 times, including the concert when she was in the front row and he took off that blue silk scarf.
And he went like this and like that, and it landed right in my lap. And here, everybody around me was right on top of me.
She was so excited to get it, it took her a moment to realize what she had lost in the process.
Oh my God, my head, because I could feel this breeze on my head. My wig. Wait, I didn't find the wig until after the show, and it was 2 rows back.
While it's wonderful to be surrounded by so much memorabilia, so many thousands of recordings, her priceless pictures, Barb says the best thing is sharing it all with her fellow fans who've become her lifelong friends.
Elvis, I have something to look forward to every day.
That's all for this month. Hope to see you next time. Until then, have a happy Elvis Presley Day.
You have a happy